2. We're live, everybody.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Oh, and here we are. We're back, kids, with the brown car guy. How exciting is this? And today's show topic is very exciting. Sex in outer space. No, I'm kidding. That's not the top. Oh, that's sorry. That's a
You know what?
different
That
show.
sounds like more fun. Let's do that one.
Okay, we'll do that one instead. So, space babies.
Yeah,
Yes
let's
or
do
no?
it. Yeah, space babies.
So anyway, so we're going to be actually talking about Star Trek Day,
Yeah.
as well
Happy
as
Star Trek Day, everybody.
Happy Star Trek Day, and
I've
we're going to
got,
talk.
I've got my NCC
Your hat.
1701 hat on. I haven't got a Star Trek shirt because I haven't got one because you can't get decent ones here in the UK.
Really?
So maybe you can find me a good one in America. I'm pretty sure they have got good ones over there.
Oh wow! I didn't know that you couldn't get one. That sucks.
Well, no, you can get them here, but they're not like they're like the cheap quality. Like when you get it, it's like what the hell is that? That's
it's
nothing like what they wear on the show.
It's the one they make in China, is what you're trying to say.
That basically, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Although to be fair, this is from China and it's actually pretty good. I was quite surprised when I got this. I was like, oh, actually, that's exactly how it was depicted in the picture.
Exactly. Which is like,
when
you order a Star Trek shirt from Temu or something, it'll be about 4 inches tall, about 2 inches wide.
Basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, well, it's good to see you, my friend. Happy whatever day this is, because we don't know when it's going to get rebroadcasted yet. Well, we do, but
we're going. Okay, so we're going. Just so people know that we've gone live on Monday, 8th of September, which is widely known as Star Trek Day because it was the broadcast date of the first ever transmission of Star Trek on terrestrial TV. So that's why it's known as Star Trek Day. There's also the Trekkies get to celebrate 2 days. I can't remember what the date of the other one is. I'll look it up. But the other one is First Contact Day. So that's the day when First Contact allegedly happened, according to Star Trek canon. But this is the day when it all kicked off, when it all actually started back in, was it 66? Was it 66?
Okay.
So that's what Star Trek Day is. Yeah. So as a Trekkie, got my hat on, got the Starship Enterprise up there as usual, and happy Star Trek Day, everybody.
Really.
Can we just run a little? We're running a campaign because it's also cancer aware period, certainly here in Holland. And so we're going to run a campaign. We've run a little advert for a great supporter, a long-term supporter of the show, the Candle Lady, and for her husband, and we're running it as much as we can through September. So we'll very quickly do that.
Let's do that.
We'll come back and have a debate as to actually what Trekkie means in Dutch. But there you go.
Hi, this is Stephen from 2OF Entertainment. And one of our family members, Michelle the Candle Lady's husband, is having a little problem. He has stage 2 cancer. And they've had a GoFundMe fund to help him pay his medical expenses. So we're asking you, fans of the 2OF Entertainment channel, if you can find $1 here or there, to possibly give him a little bit of money for his stage 2 cancer and help him through it. And then thoughts and prayers are with him. And once again, thank you for being part of the 2OF family. Very nice.
So there you go. It is actually this was the one that we did before. It's now gone to stage 3, I think, Stephen.
I think it's 3 or 4. Yeah. So
yeah.
Always thoughts and prayers constantly.
Thoughts
so if you can donate, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's terrible. I mean, I have close family members affected by this or were affected by this. So yeah, it's a terrible thing, and it's incredible that even now, in 2025, we still struggle with this. I mean, I know I know medicine has come a long way, and I know there are lots of cures and there are treatments available for many of the cancers, but still, it's something that's scary and terrible, and it does take sadly a lot of lives. So wish him all the best, and good luck with that campaign.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So far, they've made $1, so we're very excited. So I'm kidding. They've made more than $1, $2.50. And later today, we're going to have a special guest to ride the brown car guy, better known as Sermon on the German. He knows who it is already. So you can see the sweat pouring from his face.
It's going to be his nemesis. We're very excited to have him on in a little bit. So we'll see. He's getting himself ready. He's got to comb his hair, so it could take a while.
Yeah, that might take a while, considering the amount of hair he's got.
That's, oh my God, are you kidding? It's huge.
Well, let's get back to the most shocking thing, that it's National Trekkie.
Did you have pants on?
Okay. Because as I said to you before, to trek or to trek in Dutch means to masturbate. So it's national. Do we have to?
Whatever makes you happy. You know what I mean? It's happy. Go for
it. Steve just dropped out then for all. He
was taken by shock of the whole idea.
I was going to go practice National Trekkie Day. Are you kidding? Come on, been practicing for that my whole life.
The Trekkies,
That's what they do. Well, that's how.
Talking of Trekkies, we looks like
there he is, ladies and gentlemen. His hair is all combed.
There he is.
Pretty. He's ready to go.
And
we're talking, just so you know, Riza, we're talking about today is National Star Trek Day, better known as Trekkie Day. Trekkie, of course, in Dutch means masturbation. And then we're going to talk about racism in the United Kingdom and globally. But I stepped away to practice National Trekkie Day, and now I'm back. So
it took you all of 1.3 seconds.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
My wife uses me to time it. My wife uses me to
slow for him. That was slow for him.
Because I've been on this expanded universe of 2OF Entertainment for a while now. I know that the nice thing to do is to say, David, hello, how are you, sir? Are you well?
All the better for seeing you.
Are you well? Yeah. Shazad, my friend, where the fuck were you yesterday?
No, I told you I was going to be there on the Saturday, and I was there on the Saturday, and you were there.
So Shazad's opening words to me are an excuse.
Yes, I see that. That's because you didn't go to the car show.
They're not excuse at all. I was meant to be there on a Saturday. I was
that's
always
the
meant to be there on a Saturday.
No, I just thought,
and I was there on Saturday, and that's it.
And I watched,
but I feel better for seeing you today.
Oh my God!
You did what?
And I feel better. He feels better seeing you today.
Well, bless the Lord.
Stephen, are you well? Are you in good health?
Dude, you just saw me 2 days ago. Nothing's changed. See all my Instagram posts.
I'm trying to change this. I've got a really terrible image as a result of 2OF Entertainment. I'm trying to soften it, dampen it down.
Listen, stop with this.
What are you implying that
I'm not implying. I'm saying it.
So what happened? So what happened is, this is good. We go off topic. I love this. So what happened was, on the other show that we do, we call Habano Saturday. Riza has been himself, apparently, and Sherrod, you know what this means. So the fans, or the 6 of them, the fans, they have said, why aren't you just nice? And he was, he told them what they can go do. And then Usman, who's older than all of us put together, but he looks 14, is going, you should be nice. You should So Riza is turning over a new leaf, which is terrible because before the show.
So to help out Shazad,
this is not going to work.
To help out Shazad on this, I'm stuck between Star Trek and Star Wars. I'm constantly stuck between those two genres.
Yeah, no, this is very uncomfortable viewing because Reza being nice is just not nice.
Yeah, no, I can't even handle it. I threw up in my pants twice already.
Yeah, something is wrong. There is a tear in the space-time continuum, and something has gone desperately wrong.
That's right.
Parallel universe.
Yeah, we're living in a matrix. We're living in a matrix.
What do you want, Stephen? Why did you grab me on here?
Because you told me last time that he did a show, he said, why aren't I on the show to bust his balls? So now you're on the show to bust his balls. There you go.
Well, he said it was taking you a while to sort your hair out. So fortunately,
that's the other thing. I said, you had to comb your hair, look all pretty, could take a little bit of time, But hey, you know what's really cool? Since both of you are here, as you're drinking scotch early in the morning, which I can appreciate, close enough. So we're going to talk about the UK racism. So let's talk about UK racism because you both live in the UK.
None. There's no UK racism.
That was that. Let's go to Star Trek.
It doesn't exist. Stupidity exists. Stupidity exists. Stupidity exists everywhere, but racism doesn't.
There is such a thing. But no, so what happened yesterday? What happened? Let me segue into this, right? Let me talk about why I propose talking about this. Because I was at the event on Saturday.
Like you were supposed to be.
That's a miscommunication.
Just as I was supposed to be, because, and I'll tell you why. Because you can go to my channel and you can watch it. Because normally this is a 3-day event. So we're talking, anybody who's going, what the hell are they talking about? This is the Concourse of Elegance at Hampton Court, happens every year. It's a glorious, glorious 3-day event with stunning classic cars. There's over 100 classic cars and some really exquisite stuff there. I normally go on the Friday, which is the first day. So that's like the opening day. And this year they were going to have a lineup of 12 very special Lotus Esprits. And as you can see, for those of you who are watching this, that's one of my favorite cars. It's on top of the shelf there next to the Enterprise. And so I knew that there were going to be this collection of 12 special Esprits there. So I decided that I'm going to go on Saturday, because Saturday was the day they were going to be there. So that was always the plan. And I tell you what, I drooled all over each and every single one of those Esprits. Absolutely gorgeous. But they were fantastic cars. Now, so what happened is that when I was at this event, as often happens, you get people come up to you and say hello because they're viewers of your channel, or they're followers, or, for want of a better word, they're fans or whatever. And that's always lovely, So there was this one guy, and and for want of a better way of putting it, he was a white English guy. And he came up to me and he said,
they said that's another way of putting it then.
I mean, to be honest,
there's another way to put it.
Well, qualify it. Why did you go?
Because I'll tell you why. I'm coming to it. If you let me continue, because I have to put it into context. I have to make sure that you understand the picture. So he comes up to me and he says, just want to say, enjoy your content, love it, great videos. We could start chatting and stuff like that. And then he said, is it okay if I ask you a personal question? And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. And he goes, what do you think of this Operation Raise the Colors? And actually, I didn't know what that meant at the time. I actually had no clue. I was like, what? Sorry? And he goes, Operation Raise the Colors. And I'm like, what is that? I don't know what that means. And he goes, the flags and everything. And then it sort of clicked, and I was like, okay, so I am aware of what's going on with that. But I didn't know about that. And so he said, look, I hope you don't mind, but I feel that you're somebody who's very approachable and, very articulate. And I thought, can I ask you about this and how you feel about it? And so that's where it kind of kicked off, And so for those of you who are listening or watching and going, well, what is Operation Raise the Flags? Operation Raise the Flags is something that's sort of trending here in the UK at the moment, where people are putting up lots of Union Jacks, which is the British flag, and the England flag, which is the Cross of St. George. And if I've got that correct, and these are going up all over the place. Now, first of all, flags are flags. They just represent countries and nations, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. As somebody who's born in England and who is British, they are my flags too. So my answer to him was like, I got no problem with the flags. I got no problem with the flag. The question is, what is the intention behind the flag? What is the intention of putting the flag up? What is the intention of raising the flag? So this is where it actually kicked off. Now, for Reza to say that there is no racism when we are seeing a lot of this now, and there's a difference between Reza and I, although we're of the same age, but I think we had very different upbringings, because I grew up in Islington in central London in the 70s, and very much the only brown face in the area, if you like, our family. And being in the 70s, which I call the golden era of racism here in the UK, I can recall not a single day going past without, some form of abuse, a racist attack, whether it's a shout, whether it's something thrown at you, whether it's an attack on your house or your door, or whether it's somebody just hurling an insult at you at that time. And I had assumed and hoped that a lot of that had gone away and that we had evolved and things had got better. But clearly evidence from what is going on these days, it appears not. So anyway, so this is the question that he put to me about this. And then before I get into whatever I answered him, I'd like to get your guys' feedback on, what your awareness is of this campaign and what you feel about it.
I know nothing about the campaign except what you sent me right before the show to read. In that respect, I'm all for it. And racism is still here in America, but see, it's against everybody. Everybody here hates everybody. It's very nice because it's just how we get together. So,
I can put it a little bit into context, because it happened. It started primarily in a district of Birmingham, and it started around the time that was the Euros for the ladies' football. And so these flags got put up for that. Just people like they do normal football competitions. They dress the streets up, they do whatever. And as far as I understand it, again, what happened is that this thing gets hijacked by right-wing parties. Let's call them fascists. Let's call the buggers what they are, because that's what they are. And and they've been said, "Oh, look, this is all happening in this area here, and it's all anti-immigration. It's all be white, stay right, and all that bollocks." And then of course that's been picked up by social media, and there's this whole hoo-ha about immigration and the UK being taken over by immigrants, and here we are, or here you are. I mean, I grew up in the 70s as well. I mean, it was normal.
And when you say you grew up in the 70s, Dave, you mean the year 70. Most of us have a couple numbers in front of it. So let's just, when you say the year 70, it was
well,
you
70s was high school for me. So so that was a lot of it was everywhere, wasn't it? It was on TV, to death us do part and that sort of stuff.
I mean, you had everything from NF scrolled all over the walls everywhere. NF meant the National Front, to this, the symbolism, I suppose, or the stereotype of skinheads, in Doc Martens that were walking around looking for trouble. To the point where you had casual racism, like, on our favorite shows, some of our favorite shows, like, The Professionals or Minder or something, the terms and the sort of derogatory terms that would be used on them would be normal on the day, which now nobody could even say, so this was the sort of thing that was happening at that time. But, but we did. And
of course, the classic black and white minstrels. I mean,
we had those. Which we thought was good Saturday night entertainment.
Explain the difference to me as succinctly as possible between racism and stupidity. Explain the difference to me. Because my specific, very specific assertion is that, the flag raising, all the flags were always for maritime law, right? Flag denoted your nationality or which legislation. Like, for example, if you put the pirate flag up, we're about to attack you, etc., 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 right? Yeah. We had a long conversation, I think, about 2 years ago on this channel about tribalism, if you remember, football tribalism, whatever it may be. I support Arsenal, you support Liverpool, and we're the world's worst enemies, but sometimes we can play a friendly game. What a weird kind of context that is, yeah? So explain the difference to me between racism and stupidity, because I actually don't really believe that racism can't exist. In my opinion, so the way I view the world, there's no such thing as racism. We live on one planet. We are human species. If we think less of one person or higher of another person, that's just based on our own personal stupidity and ignorance, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so there's the word. The word I was looking for. Not the word stupidity, but the word ignorance. Because
all these words are tied together.
I think that's the particular form of the stupidity that applies to this subcategory of racism. And particularly being Star Trek Day, there are quotes in there about the fact that there's only ignorance about what we don't know, what we fear, what we don't know. And I think that's where this all stems from.
Is it fear? Is it fear, or is it this sort of inbuilt thing?
Your problem.
You drive that. It all starts from that. It starts from insecurities, and it starts from fear, and then it's driven by outside forces based on the ignorance that people have to then push it into this subcategory of racism. That's kind of what it is.
Is it not fundamentally built on colonialism? The fact that there
was a form of racism before colonialism. Let's be honest. There's
always been a form.
There was always prejudice. On that sort of thing. I think that there are elements, particularly in Britain, there are elements that are remnants of colonialism.
Yeah, but this is what we discussed then with you about the.
But there's remnants of colonialism everywhere in the world.
Yeah, absolutely, I appreciate that.
Everywhere in the world.
I appreciate that, but the thing is that being on that massive island, where everybody's being making love to each other for the last God knows how many thousands of years, it's very isolated. I mean, I didn't realize how isolated the UK was until I moved to Holland. And I'll tell you what, we came over, and a friend of mine, he went back to the UK and he said, "Oh, my mum's given me a colour TV," which he didn't have over here because we didn't have anything when we first came over. He said, "Oh, great." So we brought the TV over, plugged the TV into the wall, and we got sound, but no vision. Because even the TVs were then, because now we all got cable and internet and everything else, but then the TVs were designed in such a way that you couldn't pick up any senders from outside of the UK. So it's that island mentality, you know. It's like, oh, we're here, we're better. You're always trying to invade us, you know.
Well,
That's.
May I add one thing, just one thing,
Sure.
because here's what I think actually is the problem, and that problem may not be existing today, but I think this problem absolutely existed 30 plus years ago, around the time Shazad was talking about this. The English, as they were then, 30, 40 years ago, now it's a very sort of, it's a very, for want of a better term, it's a washed out kind of word, the English, right? Okay, anyway, they're not particularly welcoming kind of nation of people. They're not very welcoming. If you go to other parts of the world, if you go to the hot nations, you go to the Far Eastern nations, you go to Middle East, people are just more welcoming. So, hey, hi, come, let's have some food together, whatever. If you come to the northern, sort of the colder parts of Europe, which includes this island country, island nation, people aren't particularly welcoming. Now, you can attribute that to racism. I don't believe it's racism. It's just they're not particularly welcoming. This is a very private, insular. We use the word insular. They were very insular people. They weren't. Those that lived here weren't particularly traveled. The classier people or the soldiering classes would have traveled around the world, gone to the colonies, etc., etc., etc. Right. So when people such as Shazad, of his age range, and quite senior people actually, Shazad.
Very.
Shut up.
What they,
You and I,
what
you
they,
and
what
I
they,
are the
what they,
same
what
age.
they
Sitting upright.
Well, I suspect this lingering thing about racism. I think it's. I think
I'm
Shazad
just
talks
dyeing my
complete.
beard black.
In my opinion, Shazad talks complete nonsense about racism. That's not to underestimate the fact that he is begrudged and traumatized. I don't begrudge him that. Yeah. But this racism, I think Shazad brings it on himself. I mean, wears a hat with brown car guy on it. Is a walking target. But I've had
That's a
very open
statement.
words with
That's a
Shazad. I'm very
statement.
honest with Shazad about these
Okay,
things.
look,
Yeah.
listen.
But
Let me just say.
what I think Shazad, and I'm not demeaning what you're saying, Shazad. I just have a difference of opinion. What I'm trying to say is, you have essentially, if you had in the 70s grown up in Singapore, or if you'd grown up in the 70s, I don't know, in South America, you would have just had a different experience, and it's got nothing to do with racism. It's just to do with how welcoming or unwelcoming people are. That's how I see it.
All right. So first of all, I don't agree with that. I don't think that English people
But
are
I
less
disagree with your
welcoming.
disagreement.
Yeah, you of course you will. But I don't agree with that. I think people are people everywhere in the world. And I think that people, and there was a time even in England where people were very welcoming and very happy to see, especially like if you're the only brown or black person there, then they're like, oh wow, well, let's get to meet you, let's get to know you. It's like that. I think what happens is that it's not actually people at all. It is external forces, and usually it is forces that are let's call them elite, let's call them politicians or whatever you want to call them, but they are the ones that leverage people's ignorance. I say ignorance, you say stupidity, for nefarious purposes. And the idea at the moment, it's always the same, right? It's always the same. It's when the economy is down, when people are suffering, when they don't have money, when they're worried about their jobs, they're worried about their families, then the forces that be find that that's the perfect moment in which to leverage their insecurities.
You haven't explained one thing to me. This whole conversation is without explanation of one thing. Yeah, as far as I understand, racism is the concept when you think another race of people is below you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and what you've spoken about has got nothing to do with racism.
No, it does.
Bear with me. It's about, our jobs are being taken. These people are coming. They're taking our jobs.
No. What I'm saying, this is when.
In fact, if to reference what David was saying, that so is this a sort of a post-colonial hangover? Because colonialism kind of, not completely, it kind of existed on this notion that we're better than them, so therefore we're allowed to subjugate them, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Not kind of. I think it was part of that.
No, it's not, because there's a lot of economics at play. I mean,
let's go and take all their money.
It's nothing to do with,
let's go take all their
personal
resources.
morality. It's nothing to do with personal morality. I want your oil. Therefore, I want your oil first. That's the 99% of my reason. I want your oil first. Secondly, you're a bunch. I'm going to say bad words right now, but it's for the purposes of this conversation. You're a bunch of wogs, right? Okay, yeah. And I'm just for the academic discourse, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No one knows what a wonk
you're not
is,
as
but
good
keep
as us.
going.
Therefore, we can have your oil. Okay. But it was always about oil. It was always about economics. It was always about land grabbing. It was always about expansion. The little part of it that you're hanging on to for dear life, Shazam.
I'm not hanging on to it. Well, I'm telling you, look, listen, you had your say, listen, this is a construct. It is a concept. Racism does not, when you have little kids in a nursery school, they're not racist, right? Because they're just little kids. And they just see each other, they just play with each other, right? Racism is a construct. It is a concept that has been created, and it's been leveraged off these insecurities. And whether that insecurity relates to colonialism, whether that relates to economic superiority, whether that relates to conquering other cultures, it's all part of the same thing. But every now and then it's used. And this is what's happening right now. With the whole flag situation, it's being leveraged again. We're starting to see it again. The attacks are on the rise already here. You want to call them racist attacks, or you want to call them whatever, but or Islamophobic or religious attacks, or whatever.
About it
they are happening.
Just explain what specifically do you... No, I'm keen to understand. I'm not questioning you. I'm trying to plow this forward. What about it? Where do you feel less compared to someone who's making those allegations?
It's not about how I feel. It's about how these
this
people.
Is about a feeling. No, racism is about.
It has an impact on you. But the concept of racism is how you leverage the thoughts and opinions and behavior patterns of other people.
That's not racism. That's manipulation. Racism.
Yes, it's well. I just said racism is a construct. It's a construct. It's a creation.
It's fictional. It's absolutely fictional. We live on one planet. It's
fictional because it's been created, but it exists because it has been created. You see what I'm saying? It's fictional, because it was created. It's a construct, but it exists because it has now been created.
I'm trying to make a coherent argument that actually you play into the hands of racists by constantly allowing it to exist. If you say, listen,
if you do not recognize what it is you're being attacked with, then how do you defend yourself?
You grew up in the 70s.
If somebody hits you with a spear or a knife or a gun, if you don't take the appropriate action appropriate to that, I was born in '68.
No, how old are you?
That means people have to do math. They can't do math on this show.
Seriously.
You're going to be 57. You're 56 or 57, correct? Yeah. I'm 53. Okay, you say you grew up in the 70s in London. Where did I grow up in the 70s? At least in the late 70s in London, right? I was here in the whole 80s. My experience to you is different because every human being's experience is different, right? Tell me why I don't feel treated in a racist way.
That's only you can tell me that.
I can give you the answer. I can only tell you
from my experiences as a family in central London being attacked, like even stuff being thrown through our letterbox, our door being this sort of stuff has happened, right? So you cannot deny that does not exist, and it did not happen. It did happen.
All right, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Because being from New York, we all hate each other, and so it just works out much easier. But when you were growing up in central London, and just say, our friend below was growing up wherever, does it have to do with your neighborhoods, social and economics,
strength and numbers? Strength in numbers. So you have even in the 70s, you had East London and you had Southall and you had places like that where there was a majority Asian community, right? Now there were riots.
So there's another form of racism.
Because
that's racism.
It's not. That's ghetto. That's not racism.
No,
it's ghettoism. Can I just answer Stephen? Can I just answer Stephen? Right? So he asked me, why were the experiences different? Like I said to you before, where I was growing up, we were literally the only Asian family in that entire block. Right. So suddenly you're the only people there. So where you have strength in numbers, it's like, well, how are you going to go and attack those people unless you go en masse, And then there were riots in the 70s in Southall, et cetera, et cetera. That did happen. But, in the vast majority of cases, when you're the only people there, I was the only brown person in my school at primary school. and that was like either I was a novelty or I was unique or I was picked upon, because that was, I was different. So that's where I think that your experiences are different. But there's
I was
no
the
question.
only Pakistani in a Finchley. When I arrived here in 1977, I was the only Pakistani child. I won't say this brown nonsense again. Yeah, these are just colors you play around with. I was the only Pakistani child. I was born in Pakistan. I came here. I was the only Pakistani child. I flourished. I thrived. There was, and I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a sort of there you go kind of way, right? It's I don't perceive. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. First of all, I have very high regard for Shazad. This is why I can have very straightforward exchanges with Shazad, right? But as a journalist, Shazad, you use really vague words. Asian. I mean, the only Asian is a word that was enforced upon you by the people who you claim to be racist. You're not Asian. You're not Asian. You have a heritage. You have a background. You're born in Britain. You keep calling yourself Asian. You keep calling yourself brown. Well, I mean, why are these things important
vocabulary of people that understand what you're talking about?
No, they can go and fuck off then. They can go and fuck off. If I call you a worm, will you start calling yourself a worm? No.
You have to use what. Look, if we're in a conversation, we're talking to people. We have to explain what people are talking about. You're now 57
years old. You should be breaking through this ridiculous naming. Asian could be Japanese. You could be Chinese, Filipino, from Singapore.
So this is exactly.
You keep calling yourself Asian.
So just to answer the earlier question, this is why. For example, I use the brown car guy tag because I have defined who I am.
We've had this I don't want to have this conversation with you again and again and again, but you're using such vague words that play into
it's not vague. There's nothing vague about brown car guy. It's ultimately definitive.
No, I'm talking about Asian. I'm talking about the word Asian. I'm talking about the word Asian. You keep calling yourself Asian. You're British.
Can I just
No. Sorry.
Because well, it's nice to feel feel welcomed. But yeah, I mean, for me in the 1970s,
that's the problem. Yeah.
Well, hey guys, I'm Church of England. I'm guaranteed everything.
There you go. But, and you're the whitest guy on the show.
Tell me about it.
Get some sun.
In the 70s,
it's equality. We've got to have some diversity. We've got to have the token white guy on the show.
Yeah, David's our token white guy.
First time that we'd see people that have a different skin color than mine, the pink that I carry.
Right.
They were, but you think, well, how does that all happen? That was explained to us. Oh, they're born here, but they're Asian, so therefore they're Asian Brits. So I mean, I can understand where this is coming from, but I can also, I mean, for me, that was the thing. Also, I understood you to be an Asian Brit.
Right.
Yeah, that's my understanding, because that's what I was told. These people that I'd never seen before who looked different to me. They were eating different food. They were dressed differently, and so they were explained to okay, so there's but then you had Ugandan Asians, and what else did we have? West Indians. They're still called West Indians. They came across in the 1950s.
You're pussies over there. It's all in New York. We just called you what you were. You're a Polak, a Wop, a Jew. We went through. It was just done. But the nice thing about that was we all loved each other. You all grew up on the same street, and you were the only ones.
So this is actually.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Is that before or after that you gentrified whatever?
I didn't gentrify everything. I think everyone should live together, but not on my block, as Don Rickles would say. My point of this is listen. We had white neighbors, black neighbors, Chinese neighbors. The nice thing of when you grow up in a real city, where you all have to get along. And I had this dialogue yesterday while smoking cigars with somebody. We were saying that, we were all taught as kids back when we were growing up, before fire, that everyone's a human being until they're not. And just because the neighborhood would make fun of each other, and that was a sign of love, nobody really cared if you were black or you were white, you were Puerto Rican, you were Asian. I mean, we cared if you were Puerto Rican. But anyway, but they didn't care about it. Like, we just loved everybody. It was like, that's my friend. So as you grow up as an adult, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your sexual orientation. I care nothing. As long as you treat me right, I treat you right, we're all good. Now, If you become a dick and you're not a human being anymore, then no, I will put you where the pigeonhole needs to go, and that's where I go. But 99.9% of the people I meet out of the 8 billion people on our planet, all human beings, I don't really look at them any differently. I give a kiss or a hug or a handshake to whether you're white or you're black or you're Asian or blah, 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 blah. I mean, I check my wallet if you're black. But anyway, but I'm saying, I give you the love because you give me the love, and it's no big deal. And I think that's what you have to get through your mind is like, it's not a big deal.
A lot of certainly a lot of young people. I mean, I was reading today about they're having an election now in Norway. That looks like that could even go right wing. You know how crazy world we're living in. But they do feel a bit disenfranchised, and so they don't know who they are. And
that's their problem.
Yeah, I know, but somebody comes along then with a very simple answer to that.
Right.
You know, that well, you are as you are, but it's all that lot over there. Well, who are all that lot? Oh, well, they're easy because I can visually see that they're different.
They're the other.
That's their parents. That's their parents not training them right.
It's not necessarily parents. It comes through schools. It comes through, the groups of people that you hang out with as teenagers.
It comes through media. It comes through media as well. Yeah. But just to go back to the point that Stephen was making, because ultimately, going full circle back to where this started with that guy asking me about the flags, and that was the conversation. That was exactly my response to him. I was like, look, flags, like words, are completely harmless. You know, they represent what they represent. It's what is the intention behind that? Is what is the purpose behind that? It's like if you come to me waving a British flag and you give me a hug, I'll give you a hug straight back, and I'll hold your flag up with you. You know what I mean?
That's not an intention. That's an action.
No,
that's an action.
No,
that's an action.
The action stems from the intention.
May I ask you a question? May I ask you a question? I have
it's such a contrarian. Do you know what I mean? It's like you take something and I'm going to turn it around and twist it around, even though it bloody means the same thing.
Because what your assertions are. Listen, it gets out of hand when violence gets involved. It gets out of hand when intimidation gets involved. It gets out of hand when you are coercing other people to violence, right? Okay? When it comes to words, as you say, words are just words. They should be water off a duck's back, okay? I'll ask you a question. I have a very good friend in the cigar smoking community who's Chinese, okay? Would you say it's okay for me to call him Oriental?
Oh, everyone has an ornamental.
There's a reason. There's a very good reason why I'm asking you this question. Is it okay for me to call him Oriental?
Yeah, well, what is your intention in calling him that?
It does, whatever the intention may be, the words are coming out of my mouth. You're an Oriental.
It's got to be down to what is your intention.
Who the hell knows intention? Only God knows intention. I'm asking you a very serious question. There's a reason I'm asking you the question. There's a reason I'm asking. But there's a reason I'm asking you the question. My daughter, God bless her, my eldest daughter, 4 days ago, graduated from a very old institution. It's part of the University of London. It's called the School of Oriental and African Studies, right? Oh. So it's what was called an Orientalist institution set up maybe 100, 150 years ago, really to train foreign service, people who'd be working in the foreign service about the cultures, traditions, economics of very large parts of the world that were significantly important from a colonial perspective, right? So they were lumped together. From a colonial perspective, the Indias, the Orient, the Africas, etc., right? When you talk about colonialism and racism, you're actually you're the one hanging on to terms like Asian. These are non-existent terms. These were very, very vague terms, perhaps subversively to minimize or to diminish the value of people as a whole. When you start calling yourself me, that's when your importance level goes up. When you start behaving as me, that's when your importance level goes up. Okay, that's how I think. Okay,
no, you're getting hung up in the terminology, and you're not.
Yeah, but the terminology you use again and again.
It's just terminology. You're getting hung up in the terminology. You're not addressing the real issue, which is how people are made to feel. And the trouble is that how people are made to feel is what is causing disharmony and discord in society.
That you can feel miserable. Yeah. I can call you 100 words and you can feel miserable. But that's okay. When I say that's okay, what I mean is it's not a nice thing, but it's not particularly of great consequence. A dog barking at you is just a dog barking at you at the end of the day, right? Yeah, it's how you feel inside yourself.
Yeah, but this
it's
is
how
not,
how settled you feel inside yourself.
all of that on
can
a
I,
theoretical,
gentlemen, can I just go back to the flag thing then? Because there's a lot of people who will go and support England, of which we have our own flag, albeit from probably either Greek or somewhere out that way where St. George came from. But
Turkish Palestinian.
Yeah, there you go. Even better. Even better. But a lot of people then are these days are afraid to carry that flag or to use the flag or to use that symbolism.
Yeah, which is a
because
shame.
it's because it's been hijacked by the right.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like I said, it's a shame. The flag is a flag.
And if I hang my British flag out the side of my house, the Dutch do it like regularly. They hang flags outside for different things in the royal family here and families, etc., etc. Nobody bats an eyelid. If I go and hang my British flag out, which I don't own, outside of the house here, they'd immediately think that I'm a fascist.
And it's a shame. It's a real shame because the flag is, if you want to be patriotic, you should hang your flag. There's no problem with that. Why should there be a problem? There was a lovely story here where some people, they did put a flag on the railings right outside a mosque, right? So they did that. And then the council came along and removed the flag. And then the people in the mosque said, actually, that's our flag too. So they stuck up a flag in the window of the mosque. They're like, we're British. Let's just stick the flag up.
On flags. We're getting hung up on flags.
No, we're not. You're hung up on flags.
These are hang-ups. These are hang-ups.
This discussion
these are complete fucking hang-ups.
No.
If people such as yourself, if intelligent people such as yourself,
you're not addressing the issue, which is about flags. We're not hung up on flags. What is happening in the UK is hung up on flags.
You're the one who said a color is just a color, a word is just a word, a flag is just a fucking flag.
Yeah.
Fuck it, man. You start owning these things. Have some ownership. You're British born. You're British born.
It's what I said right at the beginning. These
so
are
you're
my
British
flags
born.
too.
Actually, instead of saying, "Oh, this is racism," and I know you're saying.
I'm not saying that.
I know you're saying. You say, "Fucking hell, it's my flag." Okay, go fuck yourselves, right? You're hijacking my. Fuck you, you ignorant pieces of shit. Yeah, it's not about racism. It's about pure stupidity. And we had this. As I said, we had this conversation 2 years ago. The moment the alien ship appears, we'll all be united. We'll all be totally united. We're all shitting ourselves, okay, collectively,
as Ronald Reagan said,
one unified piece of humanity. Will be shitting ourselves collectively. Right?
We'll all be hanging up in the meat chamber together.
I have to go. The show's going to continue. It was good to see you, Riz. I'll see you Saturday. Stars, I'll see you in a month. David, I'll see you tomorrow. Listen, we're taking over the planet. It's just a matter of time. I got to go to the Illuminati meeting, and then we got to go to the lizard people meeting. We've got stuff, and then we're going to talk about the brown people, the white people, these people from the Church of England that look like they're just like.
And you know how ridiculous this will sound in 5 years, 10 years time. Oh,
it's going to be awesome.
Yellow.
Love you all. See you all later.
See you, Steve. No, I don't agree because we've had this conversation since. That's what I'm saying. It's like when I was a kid, I thought we were done. When we got to the 80s and the 90s, I thought we were done. I thought that was it. We've evolved. We've got better than that. Unfortunately, we're not. When Brexit happened, and I think I've mentioned this before, but I had a friend here in the UK, and I was in Dubai at the time. I wasn't here when Brexit happened, and Brexit happened, and he was messaging me, and he said, Shazad, he said it's the first time in 20 years that and apologies, I'm going to use this term. He says it's the first time in 20 years that I've just been called a Paki. He said I haven't heard that term in 20 years, but just now Brexit emboldened people. It emboldened people. They are just words. They are just words. But at the end of the day, it's how they're used and what impact that they have. And I think that can be quite insidious and dangerous. And I think that's what I'm talking about. This flag thing, flags are just flags. It's not a problem. But we have to address it because what is the implications of it? What is the consequences of it? Where is it leading to? I don't want to see us going back.
So my assertion is the way to address it. I obviously cannot have all the answers, right? It's just to call people out for what a bunch of dumb fucks who've just hijacked a really important thing. Something of
that's the problem.
The Union Flag, it was a representation of maritime law abroad. That's what it was. A collection
but at the end of the day,
island nations.
You call them dumb fucks. They call you dumb fucks. Nothing ever happens. At the end of the day,
no, they don't call you. They don't call you.
They call you something else. They call you something worse. Okay, fair enough. But the point is that look, unless we start to tackle these issues, unless we start to have the dialogue, and this is again now going back to Star Trek, and
dialogue is just dialogue. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? Forget dialogue. Dialogue is just words. What is the action? Someone who's racist, you say this person's racist, they've gone and flag, they put a flag, they've attacked this. What are you doing actively about it?
I'm not doing anything about it because, like I said, it's not really something that actually was even on my radar until it was brought up to me on Saturday when that person spoke to me.
What would you do about it?
Then I sat and I had a 30-minute conversation with the guy.
What would be your practical
and the guy
solution?
was like,
what is a practical solution? What's one practical solution?
Can I just intervene? Because why did he think that he had to discuss it with you then? If it wasn't the fact that
I think he wants look, and he said to me, he said, look, I have other Asian friends as well, but I don't feel I can talk to them about this. But I feel that you're quite articulate and you're quite open, and I'd like to ask you what you feel about it. What he wanted to know was how I felt.
He just found the moment. He just found a moment.
And I was like, this is the reality of it. So at the end of the day, I think that he wanted some kind of reassurance as well. And I guess he wanted some.
Did he open the conversation with I have other Asian friends? I mean,
no, he didn't. No, he mentioned that later on. He said was in the context of he said, "Thank you for discussing this with me because this was something that was playing in my mind, and I have not been able to discuss it with my other friends. This is the kind of thing. This is the way that he said it.
Okay.
So I think as somebody that's not in his social circle, as somebody that kind of maybe to him is independent, like you're saying with friends, you're having a laugh, whatever, banter. You can't get to the serious crux of an issue, but you can come to somebody who's a third party, but somebody that you know and trust from say YouTube or whatever. Then you feel that you can have that conversation.
Yeah, but what if you haven't got friends?
Sorry.
What if you don't have friends?
Well, I don't have any friends.
Yeah, and I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in this coma with you two at the moment. So that,
It's okay. You're the token white guy, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I did ask a question. I wonder if there's an answer. Shazad, even if you're not doing anything about it, what is a practical
solution? What can be done? No, to me, it's a case of dialogue. It's a case. Look, first of all, the problem is that we have powers that be that are leveraging this and making it worse and worse. Look, ultimately, it all came down from the fact that this whole immigration thing, right? The immigration thing is a complete and utter stupidity on the part of the governments and the authorities. Because any country that has borders, and whether we should have borders or not is an entirely separate question, but we have borders. And every country has the right to control their borders. And that's a given. But then to take those people and say, oh, well, any country you land in where you're not supposed to be, if you don't have a visa, they'll put you on the next flight out. Here in the UK, they'll put you in a hotel. Yeah, I mean, it's like, what is going on? So
that's not just in the UK, because the problem is, of course, that you don't know where a lot of these people come from.
So true. There's a whole human rights thing and what have you.
But the point, not human rights, but where do you send them back to?
Where do you send them back to? Fair enough.
Well,
but the point is,
you could send them back to where if they've come on a boat, then they've come
where
on
they
the
came
other side.
from. Yeah, where they came from. But anyway,
they came from France.
That's the thing is, I don't want to get into details of that. What I'm talking about is the fact that it started from that. Where I see the danger is that there is a legitimate argument about illegal immigration. That's fine. That's something that has to be done in terms of logistics and how these structures are done, etc., etc. The trouble here is being conflated. Legal and illegal are being conflated into we just want them all out. When Elon Musk starts treating things like we want or there should be re-migration in the UK, we're entering into a very dangerous era, which is equitable to Enoch Powell's Rivers of Blood speech.
And what is your practical solution?
The practical, you know what? I don't know, honestly. The honest answer is I don't know. From my point of view, if I'm wearing my Star Trek hat,
you're an intelligent man.
Listen, let me just finish.
You're an intelligent man. You're a journalist.
Let me just finish. Let me just finish.
And I've done green.
If I'm wearing well done. If I'm wearing my Star Trek hat, to me, it's always about dialogue. It's always about conversation. It's like the conversation I had with the guy the other day. It's like, if you want to sit down with somebody, if you want to just put your issues aside, your insecurities aside for a moment, sit down, have the conversation. So, for example, on my Facebook page, on my personal Facebook, not on the Brown Car Guy page, because that's obviously open. On my personal, I got some like 800 friends, I think, and I don't know, 2,000 followers or something. And Reza might have seen it. A few months ago, I put up a notice on there, and I said, look, I'm not an Islamic scholar, I'm not an expert or anything like that, but if you have any concerns or issues or questions, I'm happy to discuss them with you. I'm happy to have that chat. I'll sit with you, I'll call you, message you, whatever, no problem, have that. But if I see anything Islamophobic from anybody that is on a friends list in my account, I will unfriend them. Because there's no need for me to put up with that sort of stuff. If you have concerns, talk to me. Don't put stuff up. And I have since probably unfriended maybe 2 or 3 people on there. And this is the thing. At the end of the day, have the dialogue, have the discussion. Don't just believe what you're being told. Think for yourself. It's like, okay, the ignorance factor. Lose some of the ignorance. Go out and educate yourself.
It's so I don't, David. I really apologize. I'm talking quite a lot, but this is the one time where I get to engage with Shazad in a way where he's not particularly expecting it. Yeah, there's one thing I just can't get past. I've had so many conversations with you about this. I've had so many dialogues. I'm very opinionated about this because I think I have a very firm. I'm open, and I've been open and receptive to seeing how it works. And you've been doing this for a long time, as this Brown Car Guy, I still do not understand the rationale for that, because in my opinion, it plays into the hands of those who choose color to differentiate between race. I look at you. So I'm not interested in if you're brown, black, yellow, white, purple. I'm interested if you're reviewing a great car. I'm interested in your friendship. I'm interested in the burger that you might be reviewing. I'm interested in the.
I'm looking forward to that, by the way. When are we doing that?
Well, that's that. We're on for that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But Brown doesn't help in any way. It doesn't describe anything in any way.
No, because
in any sense other than in a negative way.
No, Brown.
Can I think why I think you chose that?
Because go on. That would be interesting.
I think you chose that because you wanted to own the fact that you were in control. People were thinking that about you, and you say, you know what? I'm going to put myself around. I'm going to own that. So you don't have to call me Brown Car Guy because I am.
Yeah.
That's why I think that you chose it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because, and for example, there's a guy here called himself the Black Farmer. That sort of thing. And actually, it derives a lot from the whole. If you think of James Brown, be black and be proud, that sort of thing. It's like, well, it's a kind of statement of defiance. It's like, and you're shaking your head, but I only know.
No, I know that.
The experience that I've gone through because of people making that assumption that he is brown, that he is a sheikh, that he is a Muslim, that he is a Pakistani, or he's Asian.
Nothing to do with your
people have made that assumption. So, like you said, I then go, well, you know what? Then I'm going to own that. Then I will own that, and I will put it front and center. And this is who I am. And I'm like, and if you have a problem with that, then just go off my channel straight away. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just don't even come here.
Yeah, but why raise that? So now you're raising a flag. You're raising a flag that doesn't need to be. You're raising a flag.
Brown is profound. Brown is a word. It's fine.
No, but you're raising a flag that doesn't have anything to do, a descriptor that has nothing to do with your creative output. And then you're the very person.
It's a unique identifier to this particular creator.
It's not. It may be unique. It may be unique, but it's not a valuable. It's not a valuable. It's not a valuable identifier. It has no. It doesn't have a. It's just a perspective. Yeah, you may have 1 million fans who will disagree with me. Yeah, but I'm giving you a perspective that it does not. Well, there you go. But it doesn't have a valuable identification. Have value in it, yeah? Your value, in my personal opinion, I'll say this to you in a very serious way, but I'm saying this on air, yeah? I personally thought you were going to be 100 times bigger on YouTube, internet, social media as a journalist than you are. Now, you've gone for a niche. I thought you were going to be mainstream, in my opinion, yeah? And I thought you had the whole opportunity to be mainstream, but you pegged yourself. David talks about pigeonholes. You put yourself in the pigeonhole. And I think you did the pigeonhole perhaps due to trauma. Perhaps you, and I think your brown car guy naming exercise took place. I think it was around just COVID lockdown when we had the Me Too.
It was before that. It was when I came back to the UK. Actually, to be honest, I started experimenting with it in the UAE, but I doubled down on it when I came back here.
Yeah, I know.
This was,
in my opinion, a knee-jerk reaction to past
trauma. It's slightly, yeah, a little bit more nuanced, I think, because people. I'm an Englishman living in Holland, so people refer to me first by my nationality and then my name.
Yeah.
So, you know, so
British David.
Now they call me the English guy. The English guy, David. It's always like in Dutch then.
Yeah.
Not British because they don't call us. Well, everybody's English for them. There's more of a language thing.
Oh.
So you get that. So that's all. They just refer to you if you're in a group. If I'm in a party or somewhere, they just say go and ask the English guy. No, so that in itself is a form of racism.
Yeah.
Or nationalism.
It's an identifier, isn't it? It's an identifier.
But Shazad,
it's like the black farmer. The black farmer did that because he said he was the only black farmer in that entire area. So he said everybody says,
it's
the black farmer.
Obvious.
He said, okay, I'm just going to call myself the black
for
farmer.
social media, it's patently obvious. But when you read these things, so for social media, Instagram handles, YouTube handles, when you read it, like physically before clicking on and seeing a picture or a face or a video, yeah. It fucking looks weird. It looks fucking weird. Is it why? Right. So I'm just giving you a perspective that I know you and I have had this conversation a lot. I know you fundamentally disagree with me.
I disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
I think I have not been as successful.
No, I don't disagree with you that I've not been as successful, and maybe that is because of that. But ultimately,
no, you have been successful. You have been successful.
No, listen.
But you've been successful in a niche area. That I think I misunderstood. I thought you were going to be very big mainstream, and actually I've realized
how would I have stood out?
For one reason, for one thing, because your descriptor niches you in.
No, but right? How would
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
Look, in the UK. No, listen.
I'll give you a small example.
We have endless. Wait.
Small example.
Endless smoking journalists and
small example.
How do you stand out? Right,
gentlemen, one at a time, because it'll drive people crazy. Yeah.
No, just a small example. As you know, I'm on the cigar smoking scene. Okay, I'm on the cigar smoking scene. I'm not gonna say I'm massive. I'm not gonna say I'm small on the cigar smoking. I'm significantly on the cigar smoking scene. Most people anywhere in the world who smoke, especially Cuban cigars, know about me. Okay, right? Either cursorily or they follow me or they interact with me one way or the other. Okay, I talk to the biggest people in the industry all the time. So I'm somewhere there, right? Never at any bloody stage does my nationality come up. Does my ethnicity come up? Does any form of racism? It never ever comes up in any situation, anywhere. No one says, look at that brown cigar smoker, look at that Pakistani cigar smoker, look at that British cigar smoker. It's not anywhere in the vernacular of this industry. There's not, oh, look, there's a black cigar smoker. Oh, look, there's a pink cigar smoker. Oh, look, there's a yellow cigar smoker. Okay. Now, I'm saying this about an industry, not an industry, it's really my hobby, yeah? I'm in this. I watch enough YouTube clips of, people who travel, people who cook, people who drive cars, people who smoke. What you have done is non-existent anywhere. So my conclusion is that it's a niche. You've created a niche, right? What you've done is you've created a niche.
Look. Now let me have a few minutes, right? Look, at the end of the day, as you know,
it will be a few minutes.
It will be a few minutes. I know, because we're nearly done. But listen, because as you know, because we've had this discussion before. I could not stand out here when I came back with the name Shazad Sheikh, and I was not getting a foot in the door wherever. So, and I knew why that was. And I've gone up to when I first came back to UK, I was job hunting. And, like it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you agree or not, I felt that to a large extent, it was to do with who I am, what I am, where I'm from. So to me, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to double down on it. I'm going to put down a flag. I'm going to make a statement of defiance, and I'm going to do that. So at the end of the day, you may be right. You may be absolutely right that I have limited my reach because of this. But for me, it was important to make that personal statement. And the statement in making that statement is the belief that, look, I may be brown, but I'm no different to anyone else. The content is as good as anybody else. It is what it is. If you don't like the fact that I'm brown, you won't come here in the first place, and that's fine. So ultimately, that's what it was about, and I think I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I can see where Riz is coming from a little bit in respect that it may well be going forward that the fact that you've identified yourself may be seen by people who want to do something really big with you as oh well, that's a bit we don't quite know what to do with that. I mean, I can having worked with you for a couple of years now, it's great. It's an identifier. We started off, Stephen and I, we got called old farts, so that's why everything got called old farts. David and Stephen old fart, because that's what everybody called us. So, but again, we've also got criticised. I mean, when we started, it was two old white guys. That was the name of the channel.
Yeah.
And then partners said, well, that's not very, but anybody we had on of colour, the first guests we had on were people who were African Americans, and they thought it was really funny.
Yeah,
that's like the funniest thing I've ever heard. But we changed it because we felt we got pressure, not from the industry, but mostly from our partners and friends.
Yeah.
And then it was two old farts, and then we had ladies on the show, on the channel, and he said, well, yeah, we don't want to be on a channel that's called Two Old Farts, because that's, because we're not old and we don't fart. Well, you're young and you pass wind, but you know what I mean. But so yeah, there is things that worked at some stage may not work to for your benefit moving forward. That's the reason why we've morphed 3 times now for the name.
David, can I ask you a question? You go to the supermarket here in the UK, yeah, and you see a can of Heinz tomato soup.
Yeah.
Okay. If on the can it says made by a yellow guy.
Yeah.
Right. Is it more likely or less likely to make you buy it?
It doesn't make any difference to me.
It doesn't make any difference to you. Okay.
No.
But you will wonder why. Right.
Well, I'm an obsessive label reader anyway in the supermarket, so that's probably not a good question to ask because I read everything just because I'm interested. But
it's just a human reaction. I mean, my Instagram handle forever has been a lizard, right? The only reason it's a lizard is because it's an anagram of my name, Reza Adil, right? I just thought it's fun. Yeah. I started it off maybe 25 years ago with my Hotmail account because you needed personal protection and privacy.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, let's just make an anagram out of my name, and it came out as a lizard. Okay. To this day, people who meet me after following me on Instagram and in cigar smoking circles or generally, they think my name is Ali because it starts with A-L-I. It's quite nice, yeah, but I have to say, oh no, it's actually Reza, yeah? But it's just normal human reaction. It's a normal human reaction to just take what's there on face value. And the thing is with Shazad, I'm actually trying to compliment Shazad, but he's taking it, I don't know if he's taking it as a compliment, right? I don't know if he's taking it as a compliment. I think just, to give yourself a name or to give yourself a descriptor, I mean, you may say it's just a descriptor. Is it a valuable or an invaluable? If you said the shit car guy, yeah, right? It's just a word. It's just a color, but it describes you in a very, very, and I don't mean it that saying
no, but at the end of the day, is
you've pegged yourself in to get people to view you a certain way. You would argue I did that on purpose because I want people, but I say, I think it's detracted from your intellectual and creative output. You could have been massive.
No, but
gentlemen, you could both be massive, and you probably are. And so let's come back on and do another one of these because we had lots of people commenting on it.
Oh really? Oh okay.
Yeah, it's a complete can of worms. So I mean, if I look at my kids, for instance, they're in their late 20s, 30s, and they all talk about all their school friends, and we had them all around the house. You know, like it was like the United Nations, if you look at it that way round. But they didn't see that. But you know, when I was at high school, as I said, in the 70s, you know, it was pointed out to me, the difference. So maybe that's where we're at. Maybe that's where Rizzo is at when he's looking at life, that he doesn't see that, but some people do. So that's maybe an interesting point to come back to in the future. Thanks everybody so much for listening to the what is it, National Trekkie Day or whatever it is today, and
happy Star Trek Day, everybody. Live long and
Star
prosper.
Trek Day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or may the force be with you, as a nod to Reza. There you go.
Well, I'm a Klingon. I'm a Klingon.
Oh, you're a Klingon now. Okay.
I'm a Klingon.
Kaplach!
Yeah, he's a Klingon. There's another whole show about Klingon.
But
thank everybody for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like, and really, then, gentlemen, until the next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.